On a late safety car restart in Monaco, Charles Leclerc, sitting in third, applied his brakes as they approached the final corner, but nothing happened. As he would later reveal, only one tyre got the braking force. The remaining three did not respond. To the average spectator, the verdict was simple. Monaco was a slow track. The brakes couldn't heat up in the slow restart, hence couldn't reach their optimal temperatures and simply failed. But this is far from what actually happened. The follow-up question was, why didn't the same thing happen to Lewis? Did Ferrari inadvertently sabotage Leclerc? I am afraid that answer is a resounding yes. But why things took this terrible turn is what you would have to find out in this video. Welcome to Front Lockout. Chapter 1. The Anatomy of a Catastrophe. To understand the failure, you have to understand the moments that led to it. The Monaco circuit is famously a low-energy track for brakes. But the catalyst for disaster was a late-race safety car. As the cars circulated at slow speeds, the temperature in Charles Leclerc's mechanical brakes plummeted. The standard Brembo materials on his car simply could not hold the heat. They became chemically inert, a piece of carbon with no stopping power. On the restart, as he approached the final corner, he hit the brake pedal, and nothing happened. In his own words, Leclerc described the terrifying reality. Out of the 4 brakes, I had 3 brakes not working. The data confirmed his story. The front right was at 50% capacity, and the 2 rear brakes were completely unresponsive. As he put it, it's like the calipers were not even in the car. He was a passenger in a 200-mile-per-hour projectile. The crash was inevitable. His immediate radio message was explosive and telling, "Honestly, I'm not even going to take the fucking blame. These fucking brakes!" This, from a driver famous for his brutal self-criticism, was a powerful declaration. This was not his fault. While the data proved he was right, he was, however, a part of the decision that led to that failure. Chapter 2. The Regulatory Trap. So why did the brakes fail so spectacularly? The answer lies in the 2026 technical regulations. The new generation of cars are lighter, and crucially, they rely heavily on their hybrid systems. The MGU-K for braking. The MGU-K does most of the work, harvesting energy and slowing the car, especially on the rear axle. This means the traditional mechanical carbon brake discs are used far less, and that's the trap. Carbon brakes need to be incredibly hot to work, typically between 400 and 1000 degrees Celsius. If they get too cold, their ability to create friction doesn't just decrease, it collapses entirely. At a low-energy track like Monaco, during a slow safety car period, the rear mechanical brakes are effectively starved of heat. They become useless. Ferrari compounded this problem with a conservative design choice, using larger, heavier rear brake discs that required even more energy to heat up. Energy that simply wasn't there. Chapter 3. The Hamilton Exemption. This created a perfect storm for a brake failure. But it raises a critical, undeniable question. Why did Lewis Hamilton, in the exact same car, under the exact same conditions, finish the race safely in second place, completely untroubled by these thermal nightmares? The answer is a highly calculated, politically charged technical divergence that happened weeks before Monaco. Lewis Hamilton was not using the standard Ferrari braking equipment. For 50 years, Ferrari has had a deeply embedded, culturally significant partnership with the Italian brake manufacturer, Brembo. It's an alliance that defines Italian motorsport. Leclerc was running the standard Brembo setup. Hamilton, however, was not. During his dominant championship era at Mercedes, he perfected his aggressive, stamping braking technique using materials from a rival French company, Carbone Industry. When he arrived at Ferrari, he found the standard Brembo system to be fundamentally incompatible with his driving style. So, during pre-season testing, Hamilton initiated a massive standoff. He issued a clear ultimatum. He needed to switch to Carbone Industry brakes to perform at his best. The internal resistance at Ferrari was immense. But Hamilton's leverage as a 7-time world champion brought in to end their title drought was insurmountable. Team principal Fred Vasseur capitulated. Starting at the Japanese Grand Prix, Hamilton's car was quietly fitted with custom Carbone Industry brake discs and pads. Chapter 4. The Illusion of Choice. This is where the story becomes a damning indictment of Ferrari's internal management. The decision to give Hamilton custom brakes created a stark mechanical divide in the garage. His aggressive stomping style, combined with the new brakes, naturally kept his brakes in the right temperature window. Leclerc's smoother, more progressive style, combined with the standard Brembo parts, left him in a thermodynamic trap. After his crash, a defeated Leclerc made a pointed remark to the media. "The only thing I can say is that we have the solution in-house, and I'll go to Lewis's configuration from the next race onward." It was later revealed that Leclerc technically had the option to run the Carbone Industry setup in Monaco, but chose not to, wanting to stick with the brakes he knew at such a treacherous track. But to call this a driver error is to fundamentally misunderstand the psychology of racing at Monaco. A driver cannot be expected to switch to a completely unfamiliar brake feel at the most unforgiving circuit on the calendar, where a single millimetre of misjudgment means an instant crash. He was given the illusion of choice. The true failure lay with Ferrari's technical management. Once it became clear that the standard Brembo setup was a systematic liability under the 2026 regulations, they should have mandated a factory-level shift for both cars. By treating the superior brakes as a bespoke Hamilton luxury rather than a fundamental mechanical necessity, they left their hometown hero dangerously exposed. Chapter 5. The Monaco Fracture. The violent crash of Charles Leclerc at the 2026 Monaco Grand Prix was not a simple driver error. It was the terminal outcome of a cascading series of technical miscalculations and political failures by Scuderia Ferrari. While Lewis Hamilton foresaw the problem and used his immense political capital to secure a superior, safer solution, Leclerc was left to navigate a thermal minefield. The fallout has been immense, sparking a public corporate war with their 50-year partner, Brembo, and exposing the deep strain on the team's leadership. As the team now scrambles to equip both cars with Hamilton's specification, the Monaco Grand Prix will be remembered not just as a devastating lost podium for Charles Leclerc, but as the exact, indisputable moment when the technical epicenter of Scuderia Ferrari fundamentally shifted from its homegrown prodigy to the 7-time world champion.